Gran Turismo 7 is known for realism, but how close can we actually get to real-world lap records? And how fast is the fastest car in the game compared to reality? Well, let's find out. Today's challenge is simple. First, I'll see how close I can match real-world lap records using real racing cars at real tracks inside Gran Turismo 7. Then we'll unleash the Dodge Tomahawk X VGT, one of the fastest cars ever designed in Gran Turismo, and see just how far beyond reality things can get. We'll be testing 3 famous circuits: Circuit de la Sarthe, Spa-Francorchamps and Nürburgring GP. Let's jump in. Okay, so first up is the Nürburgring GP in the Audi R8 LMS. That currently has the lap record for this circuit with a time of 1 minute 55 seconds. I do have to mention that that was set during racing conditions, and the conditions that we were doing it in do not match that entirely. We have got racing soft tyres on and there's no fuel weight in this car, so you would expect it to be a little bit faster than the lap record if it was exactly the same. So let's see what this car can do with qualifying conditions. Now obviously I haven't driven a GR3 car in real life, but I must admit this feels so balanced and stable under acceleration and feels like it is exactly what you would expect from a GR3 car. It felt fantastic to drive, and I can see why this particular car would have the lap record around this track. And as we cross the line, that's a 150.989, and as we can see, that is quite a bit faster than the real life lap record. Now I would say I am an A+ driver who's quite a high level compared to the average player of Gran Turismo 7, but I must admit I felt like that lap time was too easy to achieve and the realism wasn't quite there for the real life comparison in that particular example. So before we get into the Tomahawk lap, I wanted to reel off some statistics so you get an idea of how crazy this car actually is. This is a 7-litre V10 and pneumatic hybrid system. It produces 2,586 horsepower and around 1,287 Newton meters of torque. Only weighing 749 kilograms, it is all-wheel drive. The top speed is estimated to be 379 miles per hour. It's a 7-speed sequential transmission. It has active aero system deploying wings and active body panels. It has a 0 to 60 time of 1.3 seconds and is designed to handle up to 10 Gs in corners and braking. And this is why this car is fictional, because obviously nobody would be able to survive those conditions in real life. But let's see how fast it can go if you could survive those conditions. Now, this was an incredibly hard thing to do, to try and put a good lap together in this car for a few reasons. One, the insane speed. As you can see, we almost got to 320 mile an hour on that home straight. But two, actually putting the power down. Even though it's four-wheel drive, it tries to spin its wheels when it's under 100 mile an hour. And that's because there's so much downforce on this car as it tries to pop a wheelie there, that once you get over a particular speed, it's almost got limitless grip. But this particular track has a lot of slower corners, and as you'll see, as we drop below that 100 mile an hour where the downforce can't be in play, its grip differential is so different. So the pace around this particular track wasn't very good. You'll see in the later laps that it is even more impressive when you have more faster, higher speed corners to negotiate. And as we come over the line, that is a 102.878, over 50 seconds faster than the GR3 lap record around that track. Absolutely insane. Okay, so for the next comparison, we find ourselves at Spa-Francorchamps, and we are in the Mercedes-AMG GT3/GR3 car. Now, according to online reports, a pole position lap time would be a 2 minute 16.5 or a 2 minute 17 lap time. So let's hit the track in qualifying conditions and see how realistic Gran Turismo 7 is compared to real life. So as we cross the line, we hit a 2 minute 12.021. So again, it shows that Gran Turismo 7 is slightly faster. So again, not that realistic. I didn't spend that long to set this lap, and I've managed to go 4.5 seconds faster than what professional racing drivers are doing in qualifying. So let's see what the Tomahawk can now do when realism goes completely out of the window. Now before I share with you the successful lap that I managed, I just wanted to share this funny moment that shows how dangerous a car like this would be if it was allowed to be made and raced in real life. Thankfully, it is fictional and nobody was hurt in the making of this video. So let's get into the actual successful lap. As you'll see, slow hairpin, lack of downforce. We have to really slow down and wait for the downforce to kick in before we can accelerate. But then once the downforce kicks in, you can use all of this power. And as long as you get the line just right through Eau Rouge, it is obviously completely flat out. It is so hard to fathom how much force would be put through your body if a person was in this vehicle. It is crazy the speeds you are flying through these corners, and it is crazy just actually keeping it on the track. It is so hard to set a full successful lap without crashing. I've no doubt that there is a lot more time in this lap given some practice, but I just wanted to give you guys some kind of perspective as to how fast a car like this would be going around a track in real life and comparing it to some lap times by real life cars as well. So as we cross the line in a 109.286, over a full minute faster than GR3 cars are going in qualifying. Again, absolutely insane. Okay, so we have tested two tracks with GR3 cars and tested if we can get anywhere near the lap records in Gran Turismo 7, and then tested how much faster the Tomahawk is. What about the big boys, the GR1 cars at the Le Mans course? Today we find ourselves in the Toyota GR1. This has the lap record around the 24-hour Le Mans circuit with a time of 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Can we get anywhere near that lap time in the same car in Gran Turismo 7? And how much faster is the Tomahawk than the GR1? Let's find out. Now, for the GR1 comparison, I did notice that it was a lot more difficult to get close to that lap time, that lap record that had been set in real life. So I spent the most amount of time trying to achieve this. And you'll see at the end, we still didn't manage to match the lap record. But one of the things I want to do as we're coming down this home straight is just take note of the top speed of this middle straight that this vehicle gets up to. And as we look at the speedometer, we can see it's just approaching 190 mile an hour. I think it gets over maybe 194-ish, 192 mile an hour. So when we do the comparison for the Tomahawk, I just want to see what kind of top speed difference there is between these two extremely fast cars. All the other attempts, I left the cars completely standard, but I must admit, for this particular comparison, I even tried tuning this car, tinkering with the downforce, tinkering with the suspension, just to try and get a few more tenths or half a second out of the lap. because, like I say, it was very difficult to get close to that lap record time. If you're still watching the video and you found it interesting, informative, or just entertaining, then do me a favour, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 5,000 subscribers and any help is very much appreciated. The more subscribers I get, the better content I can create, so it's a win-win all round. Now let's get back to the racing. So as we head over the finish line, we managed to get a 3 minutes 19.907, over 4.5 seconds off the real life lap record. So with GR3 cars, we were a lot faster, but in GR1 cars, we were actually slower, which is an interesting find, I think. Now, what can the Tomahawk do against the big boys? How much of a difference will there be to a GR1 car around a track like this? So now the time has come for the Tomahawk to stretch its legs at the big boy track and to see how much damage it can do against a GR1 car. We're going to be able to see this car in all its glory, taking advantage of all that horsepower, all of that downforce and those active wings. You can see almost all of these corners are just flat out, and that's crazy to think when this car has over 2,500 brake horsepower. It makes the Mulsanne straight look like you're just nipping next door to get a cup of sugar. And even from those crazy speeds, it stops so quickly. Now let's see what the top end speed is like down this middle straight. It was 192 mile an hour in the GR1 car. We're already over 350 mile an hour, and it tops out at 363 miles an hour. That is almost 200 miles per hour faster than the GR1 car that holds the lap record around this racetrack. Now, I know a few of you out there might be saying this is just not realistic, this car is silly, it shouldn't have been put in the game, but from my personal opinion, I think it's really good. It's something completely different and lets you imagine what could be possible if they were allowed to create a car that could go as fast as humanly possible. Helps to mix things up and give the game a bit of variety. Now we're coming up to my favourite part of this replay, and I'm going to switch the camera perspective so you can see through the Porsche curves what a car doing nearly 350 mile an hour around these corners looks like. Absolutely insane. But what is the lap time going to be? Are we going to break that 2-minute barrier? As we have to slow down through the low downforce corners, we come up to the finish line and we cross the line in a 1 minute 56.895. That's almost a minute and 20 seconds faster than the GR1 car. Again, absolutely incredible scenes. And there we have it. We have concluded our tests and we have found that the GR3 cars appear to be faster within the game, but perhaps the GR1 cars are a little slower, which I found quite interesting, but I'm not sure what to do with that information. Still, it's a test that I'm glad that I did. And then we compared how ridiculously fast the Tomahawk is. And again, my mind was blown. I'm not sure whether it would be physically possible to create a car like that, even if it was driven by remote control. But either way, it was a fun challenge to do. But that concludes today's video. If you could do me one small favor before you go, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. But from the Racing Snake, it's over and out. and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.